Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. The Ministry of Health today reported that the COVID-19 recovery rate in Malaysia is among the highest in the world.
Malaysia reported 36 more COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, bringing the country's total infections to 6,855. Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said, out of the 36 cases, 28 are non-Malaysians. No new fatalities were reported today and the death toll remains at 112. Malaysia continues to record more COVID-19 recoveries than new cases today. 88 more patients have been discharged, which means 5,439 patients have recovered since the outbreak began. Malaysia's COVID-19 recovery rate is now at 79.34% out of the total number of positive cases, which is among the highest globally. Noor Hisham also announced that Malaysia is among the countries to have done the most COVID-19 testing in ASEAN. To date, 424,306 individuals have been tested with a positive rate of 1.62%. To date, Malaysia have tested 13 in every 1,000 members of its population.
Saringan COVID-19 ini dijalankan secara tertumpu, iaitu targeted screening kepada kumpulan-kumpulan yang dikesan berisiko tinggi untuk dijangkiti COVID-19. Pemunian data ini tidak dapat dilaksanakan tanpa kerjasama daripada pelbagai pihak termasuk 7 makmal swasta. Kementerian Kesihatan amat mengharapkan agar kerjasama daripada makmal-makmal ini dapat diteruskan dan semua data yang berkenaan dapat diberikan atas kepentingan negara dalam menghadapi wabak COVID-19.
Muslims in several states have been allowed to conduct congregational prayers after more than 2 months of restrictions due to COVID-19.
Several states have announced that Friday prayers and congregational prayers will be allowed under the Conditional Movement Control Order, subject to set guidelines and certain constraints. The states are Perlis, Johor, Perak, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka as well as the Federal Territories. In a statement, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department in charge of Religious Affairs, Zulkifli Mohammed, said that each state will have its own set guidelines. However, there are some general guidelines set by the National Security Council and the Health Ministry, which includes a limit on the number of people to between 3 and 30 people. Individuals also have to perform their ablutions before going to the mosque and bring their own prayer mats. Individuals who have chronic diseases, senior citizens aged 70 years and above, and children below the age of 15 are not allowed to attend any prayers. In a press conference today, Defence Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob does not rule out the possibility that the loosening of restrictions could be retracted if there are many violations of the SOPs.
Terutamanya wilayah. Hari ini dah dibenarkan, kita akan cek. Kita akan dengar laporan daripada Yang Berhormat Menteri. Jika terdapat ketidakpatuhan, mungkin kita terpaksa meletakkan pihak polis ataupun mana-mana anggota beruniform untuk memastikan pematuhan itu dapat dilaksanakan.
A lawyer and a social activist have gone to the High Court of Malaysia to seek a declaration that the one-day Dewan Rakyat sitting that will take place next Monday is unconstitutional.
A legal challenge has been filed against the Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin and Dewan Rakyat Speaker over the limiting of the May 18 sitting to just the royal address. Lawyer R Kengadharan and social activist D Arumugam filed their writ of summons at the Kuala Lumpur High Court Registry early this afternoon. According to the court papers, the duo, among others, seek a declaration that the parliament sitting, which only slated to hear the young di-Pertuan Agong speech, is unconstitutional. Earlier, lawyer Hanif Khatri Abdullah said the validity of one-day Dewan Rakyat sitting that has been shortened to exclude any debate session may be challenged in court. In a statement, he pointed out that the last parliament sitting was held on December 5, 2019. Therefore, the next one must be held within 6 months, which falls by this June 5th, as required under the House's rules. Hanif cited that under the country's law, failure to hold a Dewan Rakyat sitting within a 6-month period would result in the automatic dissolution of the 14th Parliament. He added this would put the country at risk of having to hold the 15th general election immediately after that, despite still dealing with COVID-19 situation. Last month, the Dewan Rakyat issued another notice that the sitting, which was rescheduled till May 18, would only be held for 1 day due to the fear of COVID-19.
The upcoming Chini state seat by-election on the 4th of July is certainly one to look out for, as the COVID-19 outbreak has ushered in a new normal across the country.
The Election Commission has fixed July 4th as the polling date for the Chinese state by-election in Pahang. The seat fell vacant following the death of UMNO Assembly person Abu Bakar Harun on May 6. Election Commission Chairperson Azhar Azizan Harun said that nomination is set for June 20, early voting on June 30 and polling will be on July 4th, which is a Saturday. He said the EC will ensure that the Chinese by-elections meet the Conditional Movement Control Order requirements to prevent the spread of COVID-19. EC has sought the views and advice of the National Security Council, the National Disaster Management Agency NADMA, the Ministry of Health and the Royal Malaysia Police to come up with standard operating procedures for this by-election. In the 14th general election in May 2018, Abu Bakar won the seat with a majority of 4,622 votes against past candidate Muhammad Fadil Nur Abdul Karim and Muhammad Razali Isnain of PKR. Yesterday, Pahang Barisan Nasional Chairperson Wan Rosdi Wan Ismail confirmed that UMNO will field a candidate in the Chinese state by-election. He said they had no problem deciding which party to contest as they had reached an understanding that the seat traditionally belongs to UMNO. The by-election campaign is likely to feature former Prime Minister Najib Razak as the state seat falls under his Pekan Federal Constituency.
Former Barisan Nasional Component Party Gerakan has announced their support for Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin despite once being against the idea of a backdoor government.
Gerakan has thrown its support behind Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, saying Malaysia should focus on the current economic turmoil stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic. In an online press conference today, Gerakan President Dr. Dominic Lau said country leaders should not be playing politics at this time and place its attention on national recovery.
Poin kita mestilah letak pada peningkatan dan menjaga kesejahteraan rakyat, bukan dalam pertengkaran politik atau menegakkan kerajaan. Dengan inilah untuk kepentingan negara dan rakyat, parti buat keputusan untuk menyokong sepenuhnya kepimpinan Perdana Menteri Tan Sri Muhyiddin.
This is a marked change of position by Lau, who in November last year criticised suggestions that PAS form a government through the back door. When asked if his party will join the ruling Perikatan Nasional Coalition, Lau simply said their main focus right now is to support Muhyiddin. He added that the party will back anyone who has the public's interest at heart and shares the same ideologies as the multiracial party. Meanwhile, a Gerakan party member is unhappy with the party returning to Barisan Nasional. In a series of tweets, Gerakan Youth Committee member Lim Si Ching said anyone in the party can support the Prime Minister, but the party should not decide for the rest of the party members.
The Pudu area in Kuala Lumpur was cordoned off early this morning with barbed wire as authorities increased COVID-19 screening efforts in the area. An area around Jalan Pudu which has been cordoned off with barbed wire since last night is not under the Enhanced Movement Control Order. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Mazlan Lazim said that it was not a lockdown but a move by authorities to strengthen the MCO in the area like they did at Chowkit Market. A visit by Malaysia Kini this morning found wire fencing from near the Majestic Palace Hotel in Jalan Pudu to Jalan Landak, making several blocks of buildings impassable. A foreign worker on the inside of the blocked area said that authorities had come around 10 p.m. yesterday to install the wire fencing. Bukit Bintang MP Fong Kwei Lun, who came to visit the cordoned-off area, said that there were between 500 and 1,000 foreigners here, mostly Myanmar and Bangladesh nationals. He said that the police told him that the reinforced MCO in parts of the Pudu area is to allow medical frontliners to conduct COVID-19 testing and for the quarantine of foreigners. He said locals are allowed to go out, but they need to have permission from the police. Fong's service centre is one of the approximately 800 premises in the area, which has been cordoned off since yesterday evening. Yesterday, the Health Ministry disclosed that 18 of the new cases in the Federal Territory were all from one source, in the vicinity of the Pudu market. This cluster currently has 30 cases, all involving foreign nationals. Still to come, 2 positive coronavirus cases were found in a Rohingya refugee camp, prompting fears of a huge outbreak. All that and more after the break. Welcome back. United Nations health experts have warned that a mental illness crisis is looming as millions of people have been forced into isolation and anxiety by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The United Nations is asking governments that as the pandemic crisis drags on, not to forget the mental health toll that is having on many people. Deborah Castell, director of the World Health Organization's Mental Health Department, said an upsurge in the number and severity of mental illnesses is likely, and governments need to be front and center in their responses.
We have seen in the past that similar cases of economic crisis have increased the number of people with mental health issues, leading to high rates of suicide, for example, due to the mental health condition or the substance abuse, for example. Some surveys that were done in Canada, where 47% of healthcare workers reported need for psychological support. 47%, so almost half of them.
The report highlighted several groups that are vulnerable to mental distress. These include children and youth who are isolated from friends and school, and healthcare workers who see thousands of COVID-19 patients. Domestic violence is also rising, and health workers are reporting an increased need for psychological support. The WHO report said many people are distressed by the immediate health impacts and the consequences of physical isolation, while others are afraid of infection, dying and losing family members. Millions of people are also facing economic turmoil, having lost or being at risk of losing their income and livelihoods, it added. The report outlined action points for governments to help ease this burden, including addressing past underfunding of psychological services and pushing online resources such as video conferences with therapists.
The world's largest refugee camp saw its first confirmed case of COVID-19, exposing already extremely vulnerable Rohingya refugees to the deadly virus.
The novel coronavirus has been detected in one of the southern Bangladesh camps that are home to more than 1 million Rohingya refugees, officials said on Thursday. An ethnic Rohingya refugee and another person have tested positive for COVID-19, a senior Bangladeshi official and a UN spokeswoman said. Both of them have been taken to an isolation center after they tested positive. The other patient was from the host population, a term usually referring to local residents outside the camps, the UN spokeswoman said. It was the first confirmed case in camps more densely populated than most crowded cities on earth. Coronavirus infections have been gathering pace in recent days in Bangladesh, which has reported nearly 19,000 cases of COVID-19 and 283 deaths. Aid workers have warned of a potential humanitarian disaster if there is a significant outbreak in the refugee camps outside Cox's Bazar. As many as 60,000 to 90,000 people are jammed into each square kilometre, with families of up to a dozen sharing small shelters. The government has enforced a nationwide lockdown since March 26 in an effort to check the spread of the disease. Despite the shutdown, the number of cases has risen sharply in recent days, and the daily death toll and new infections hit a record on Wednesday.
And that's about all we have time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget that you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Well, here we are at the first weekend under the Conditional Movement Control Order. While the restrictions have been relaxed, remember that COVID-19 is still out there. So keep your distance, practice social distancing, and remember to wash your hands. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching and enjoy your weekend.